The topic for my today's presentation is post-structuralist interpretation of Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. These are my academic information. The research question for my presentation is: how does a post-structuralist approach challenge the fixed interpretation of Robert Frost's Fire and Ice, and what implications does this have for the fluidity of meaning in literary texts? The hypothesis asserts that a post-structuralist reading of Fire and Ice reveals that the poem resists a single fixed interpretation. Instead, its meaning is contingent and on language play, intertextual references, and the reader's role in meaning making. By deconstructing its binaries of language, the poem illustrates how language destabilizes absolute truths, reinforcing the idea that meaning is subjective and ever shifting. Introduction. Post-structuralism challenges the idea of fixed meanings in literature, emphasizing language's instability and the reader's role in interpretation. Unlike traditional approaches that argues that meaning is it argues that meaning is fluid and shaped by context, cultures, and intertextual influences. In this presentation, I am going to analyze the Robert Frost Fire and Ice along with the concept of post-structuralism. So, what is post-structuralism? Post-structuralism is an approach to literature that, proceeding from the tenets of structuralism, maintains that as words have no absolute meaning, any text is open to an unlimited range of interpretations. Major theories connected to post-structuralism. The post-structuralism term is shaped by key theories that challenged fixed meanings in text, and so the we can have the Derrida's deconstruction. Deconstruction argues that language is unstable and meaning is constantly deferred, making it absolute interpretation impossible. Barthes' death of author shifts meaning from the author to the reader, as the meaning of the text is not only that the author wants to tell us, but for different people, the meanings could be different. Uh, then Kristeva's intertextuality theory that highlights how texts are uh, uh, the highlight that how texts are came from the came from the inspiration from the other texts, and the every text are from that inspirations, but have no new meaning in it. Then Psychoanalytic criticism by Kristeva also examines language and desire in poetry. About Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. It was published in 1923 and is a very short poem by Robert Frost that explores that the potential ways the world could end, using fire and ice as metaphors for desire and hatred, respectively. The poem explores themes of destruction through two elements: the fire as desire and the ice as hate. Traditional readings of it see it as a meditation on a human emotions and apocalyptic destruction. It is influenced by Dante's Inferno, particularly in its depiction of fire and ice as symbols of punishment and destruction. It is also influenced by religious stories that says the end of world would come one day. The poem's structure is simple. The rhyming scheme is followed by him with a conversational tone, but its themes are deep and philosophical. It raises existential questions about the nature of destruction, whether passion or cold indifference is more harmful. Cold indifference is a characteristic of doing the post-structuralist interpretation of any literary work. Uh, the the question to question the idea of single meaning represents in post-structuralist concept that every text has uh, more than one meaning. It depends on the reader. Meaning shifts depending on a reader's perspective, context, linguistic play, and also we can say the cultural context or the religious context could change the meaning of play. Uh, if we apply this characteristic to fire and ice, we can find that when the idea is given in the poem that fire as uh, hatred and ice fire as sorry fire and ice is hatred and desire. We can say that the meaning that Robert Frost has given to it, that could be changed in many perspectives. Then deconstruct the language. Uh, we can say the fire and ice should be the binary opposites or love and hate, like that. These concepts of binary oppositions are the linguistic concepts that uh, we can think through different lenses on it, like if we say the fire and ice are the binary opposite terms, here in this poem the destination of the fire and ice progress is to disrupt the world and to end it, challenge the authority of the speaker. In the speaker is not a reliable source of absolute truth, as we can see this that in fire and ice, Frost is giving the idea of ending the end of the world by examples of fire and ice and desire and hatred. But in other texts we can also find the concept of this ending of world uh, uh, symbolized with other terms, and that could be seen as the decline on authority of speaker, that Barthes in his Death of the Author has 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 given, and that meaning comes from the reader, not the author. The speaker presents two competing theories but doesn't confirm either in this poem. The phrase like "I think," "I know," that gives us the feeling of uncertainty and lack of reliability on the author. Then analyze intertextuality, as I mentioned that the fire and ice and the ending of world are mentioned in Dante's Inferno. Then biblical themes are also on that. Then scientific theories like universe might be covered in ice fully one time, and that are also the intertextual concepts that a reader should keep in mind while analyzing the work. Then expose hidden power structures. Texts reinforce or challenge dominant ideologies. Foucault's power structures, language subtly enforces control. Uh, while applying it to fire and ice, the poem presents destruction as inevitable, removing human agency. Who decides what fire and ice mean is the reader, not the author. The simplicity of the poem hides complex layers of interpretation, making the reader question authority. Look for gaps, silences, and absence. The post-structuralist concept of looking for gaps is what a text does not say is just as important as what it does. Gaps create ambiguity and leave us with meaning, with unstable meanings. While applying it to fire and ice, we can say the poem never defines what fire and ice truly present. Uh, the concept given it to it, the desire and hate, is given by author Robert Frost, but it never defines that it is actually that thing. There is no the poem tells us that ending of world would be by fire or ice, but the idea which these both terms are provoked, that it will end, but it's not confirmed that it will do that. So it's we cannot define that the terms and the poem are uh, giving it as the better forces or the worst forces for the universe or the world. The future remains unknown. Is destruction metaphorical or literal? That we also can see that this is not the claim he is making, but he is just interpreting the one thing through literature, through literary texts and myths that are around him. Consider the reader's role in meaning making. Barthes says that the reader, not the author, creates meaning. That we can say, if we try to see with the example of fire and ice. If we read the poem, we are the meaning maker of it. Not We cannot have the exact idea what was in Robert Frost's mind while writing it, but we consider our cultural context and our language understanding to it, and consider it as our meaning. The conclusion: post-structuralist analysis of fire and ice demonstrates that meaning in literature is never fixed but is instead shaped by the interplay of language, context, and interpretation. The poem challenges binary oppositions, undermines the authority of the speaker, and opens itself to multiple readings through intertextual references. By acknowledging gaps, contradictions, and the role of the reader, this interpretation highlights the fluidity of meaning, aligning with Derrida's concept of difference. Ultimately, Fire and Ice serves as an example of how text resists singular interpretations, emphasizing the inherent instability of language and the reader's active role in constructing meaning. These are my references, and thank you. Now you're free to ask questions.
Smruti, my question is: does Frost's use of a rigid rhyme scheme contradict the post-structuralist idea of fluid meaning?
uh, uh, the use of rigid rhyme scheme in Frost's poem does not contradict the idea of fluid meaning, as the in if we see it in post-structuralist view. It is a mere deceptive concept, because the rigid structure makes it to interpret in more in many contexts, as it makes it simple, and so it is not the contradictory, but it gives it the openness for interpretations.
Smruti, my question is, if meaning is never fixed, does this diminish the significance of authorial intent in Fire and Ice?
Uh, the authorial intent in Fire and Ice could be seen as uh, the authorial intent in Fire and Ice could be seen as that we don't know what was in author's mind, Frost's mind, while writing the poem, but uh, the interpretations of the work are always by the side of the reader, and it is not always on the author. So it does not diminish the significance of authorial intent in Fire and Ice, but it if we see it in post-structuralist views, that it is on the reader, the intention of the poem or the interpretation of the poem. S- Thank you.